As a project manager, it's essential that you are able to manage your own time. And personal time management is one of the questions I get asked most frequently at project management training sessions. How do I control my time? And as a project manager, I've developed my own method, my own principle for personal time management, which is based on two things: on the way that human psychology works and on the most effective parts of project management. So in this video, I want to introduce you to the OATS Principle for personal time management. The OATS Principle is a highly flexible, highly adaptable approach to managing your personal time. The idea behind the principle, and why I call it a principle rather than a system or a process, is because as professionals, as project management professionals, or as a professional in any domain, you rarely have total control of your time. There are going to be interruptions and disruptions and things that happen that you can't control. Therefore, a rigid time management system is not going to work for you, because as soon as one of these unexpected events happens, your whole plan is out of the window and you're lost. The OATS Principle is highly flexible, and you can adapt it to daily OATS planning, to weekly OATS planning, or even to monthly or perhaps quarterly OATS planning. As I describe it, I'll probably focus on daily OATS planning, which is where you should start if you're not used to effective personal time management. And the first step in the OATS Principle is to think about outcomes. At the end of your day, think about the outcomes you want for tomorrow. By outcomes, I mean, what do you want to be different this time tomorrow when you leave work? What are the changes, the beneficial changes that you want to create? Now, what makes the OATS Principle powerful is when you're thinking about the outcomes for tomorrow, think about the amount of time you're likely to have to dedicate to them. If you know that you're going to be working for an 8-hour day, but you're going to spend 2 hours in meetings, and it's likely that you'll spend at least another hour dealing with small problems that you can't predict today, that means you don't have 8 hours to generate those outcomes. You have 5 hours under your control. If you start by planning for 8 hours worth of outcomes, then you're doomed to fail. So if you know you've got 5 hours under your control, think about the kind of changes you want to create tomorrow that you can do, you can achieve within that 5 hours. Relating the OATS Principle to project management, these outcomes are like setting the goal and the objectives for your project. So the next thing you need to do is A, for activities. Think about the things that you need to do in order to achieve the outcomes that you want to achieve. It's kind of like making a to-do list, except it's not a to-do list. Project managers are often highly effective at running a to-do list. The problem is that loads of new things keep appearing on your to-do list throughout the day. So you get to the end of the day and there's still stuff on your to-do list. And you've got two choices, choice A or choice B. And two choices is a dilemma, and dilemmas aren't good. So choice A is to stay at work and work through your to-do list until it's done, which leaves you with a great feeling, except you're exhausted. You come into work tomorrow and you're a bit tired, you work through the day, you get to the end of the day and there's still stuff on your to-do list, so you stay late and you work it. And after a few days, a few weeks, you're getting tired, you're getting stressed, and you're thinking, what am I doing? I'm coming to work, I'm not getting a proper home life, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm not working to live, I'm living to work. Strategy A isn't working, let's try strategy B. You get to the end of your working day and there's still stuff on your to-do list and you say, I'm going home. I'm going home, I'm leaving that stuff there, I'm getting a good night's rest. The trouble is you don't get a good night's rest, do you? Because all those things you've got to do tomorrow are running around in your head. They're stressing you out. You don't sleep properly. You don't relax properly. You get up in the morning, you shower, you go to work, and you know that before you can start today's stuff, there's still stuff left over from yesterday. You work through the day, you get to the end of the day, and there's still loads of to-dos on your list. And you say, I'm going home. I'm going home. But you don't relax. You don't sleep well. Everything's buzzing around in your brain. You come to work, and by the end of the week, that to-do list is getting longer and longer and longer, and you know you're never going to tame it. The reality is that strategy A doesn't work, and neither does strategy B. And the fault isn't the strategies, it's the to-do list. When we make a list of activities that we need to do to complete our outcomes for tomorrow, that's not a to-do list, it's a today list. It's tomorrow's today list. It's the things I will do today to achieve the outcomes I need to achieve. If other things crop up that don't need to be done immediately, they go onto a to-do list, which is nothing more than a repository of ideas for the next OATS planning session. Having set out your activities, the next step in the OATS process, the hardest step I'm afraid, is to estimate the time that each activity will take. Now, we know that human beings are generally rubbish at estimating times, so here is my top tip. Most people underestimate how long it will take them to do something. So do one of two things. Either simply double your estimate, or better still, look across the office, across the factory, across the warehouse to one of your colleagues who does something very similar to you and estimate how long it would take them. Most of us are pretty reasonable at estimating how long our colleagues would take to do the work. What we're not reasonable at is assuming that we're better than everybody else. If you estimate how long it would take your colleague to do it, then it will probably take you about the same amount of time. But the more you get into the habit of estimating everything, the better your estimates will get. So estimate the time for each activity, and then comes the simplest step within the OATS Principle. For each activity you've identified, schedule it. Put it in your diary, put it in your calendar, put it in your book. The thing is, we tend to schedule meetings because they're external commitments. We've made that commitment to someone else. If someone tries to interrupt us, to stop us from going from a meeting, then we tend to say, sorry, I've got a meeting, I've got a commitment, I've got to go, and off we go. If, on the other hand, you're thinking, well, now's the time I want to do this piece of work or write this report, someone interrupts you and you say, oh, okay, what is it? And before you know it, you're 20, 30, 40, 60 minutes behind schedule. If, on the other hand, you've scheduled all of your activities, someone comes to you and asks you for a bit of help, immediately, in the back of your mind, no, I've got a commitment, and you can look them in the eye and say, sorry, I have something scheduled. Could you come back in an hour when I've done it? Scheduling all of your activities gives you control. It gives you control over what to do about interruptions because it forces you to think, well, is this interruption important enough and urgent enough to override what's in my schedule? So at the end of each day, make an OATS plan. At the end of each week, make an OATS plan for the next week. The OATS Principle is the best way to manage your time. And what happens if something big and unexpected happens halfway through the morning? Well, once you've dealt with it, put your head above the parapet, a bit like a meerkat, survey the horizon, review the OATS plan you have, and if it's no longer appropriate to the situation, take 5 minutes to start afresh and make a new OATS plan based on the outcomes that are most important and most reasonable for you to achieve by the end of the day. List the activities, and if you haven't already done so, estimate the times and then schedule those activities for the rest of your day. OATS planning will make you a more effective professional, it will make you a more effective project manager, and it will give you a feeling of control over the time you are at work. And when you've got control over your time, you'll have better control over your project. If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. And please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.